Hi, friends! Welcome back to another Pick a Card Tarot reading. My name is JP, and this is Junodrome Tarot. We've got a really awesome set of tarot readings for you today that I'm really excited about, trying something different. But before we get into that, I just want to say super thanks to all of our new subscribers. It's crazy just watching. We got a huge amount, like 50 subscribers, and in like 2 days, 3 days, and I'm so thankful to have you with me. We've passed the 1,000 subscriber mark, so we're officially celebrating 1,000 subscribers. I started this channel almost 2 years ago. It's been 2 years, 2 and 2/3 years. A couple months away is the 2 year anniversary, and yeah, I didn't know how long it would take to jump off. I had no idea kind of what I was getting into, but I feel like I've really gotten into a great rhythm with this channel. And a huge thanks to all of you, people who've been with me from the beginning. If you're just tuning in now, either way, I'm so thankful to have you with me tuning into these readings. It's really great for me to be able to share this with you. You know, I feel like my abilities as an intuitive are dramatically increasing and have through this channel, and I'm just really excited to keep bringing these to you. So just a quick couple things before we jump into the reading itself. In order to celebrate this 1,000 subscribers mark, I've got a couple promotions running. 20% off all of my personal readings on the website. You can find that at junodrome.com. And then we have a drawing for 2 free readings. So 2 lucky viewers are going to receive a free reading from me, and then 1 viewer is going to get a little bit of a thank you gift bundle. So so there's 3 different chances for you to win. You can find that raffle information on the website as well. Once again, that's www.junodrome.com. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you are new and you haven't subscribed already, please do. It really does help out the channel. Yeah, feel free if you're ever looking for videos for me. I'm trying to post as regularly as I can. But if you ever want to check the backlog too, like I said, we've been doing this for almost 2 years now. So there's lots of readings available. And I do personally, when I find readings, I tend to try to find the ones that jump out to me. But you never know. If you take a look at the backlog, one of the readings might jump out to you. So anyway, we have 4 different readings for you to choose from today. I'm really excited because I'm testing out this reading template that I got from the Wild Unknown Archetypes deck. It's a really exciting deck that I've seen some readers on YouTube use before, but I've never used it myself. I got it as a Christmas present from my stepmom and my dad, so thank you guys. And it's an awesome gift, and I'm really starting to get into it. But one of the spreads that they had really jumped out at me because this deck has been designed in such a way that it gives different archetypes for you, with locations and person and sort of different things. So I'm trying this out. Gave one of these readings to myself, and it was really powerful. So this is going to be what is who are you in this incarnation? So basically, I mean, we're presupposing the idea of reincarnation. You don't have to believe in that, but you can just say for your life, in this life that you're living, like what is the story of you in this life? What is the journey of you in this lifetime? What is it that you are here for in a certain sense? I mean, I think that we have multiple purposes. You know, I think when I was first getting into these YouTube readings, there's a lot of these readings on like what is my path and what is my purpose in life, and I think this is going to be a little bit looser than that. I think that we have many different reasons for being in life. We have many different things to learn and many different understandings. But this is going to be kind of a broader overview on who are you and what is it that you're here for? What are some of the bigger lessons in your life? And this might be, you know, these kinds of things. Like I said, they might change over time. This isn't an end all be all, but it is sort of an interesting exploration in you. And you know, always choose the thing that resonates with you. If any of these messages don't resonate with you, that's fine. Maybe you chose the wrong pile, or maybe this reading isn't for you, but another one is. So anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. In a moment, I'm going to show you the piles for you to choose from. Yeah, once we get into that, then we'll jump into this reading. So, thanks again, everybody, for subscribing. I'm so excited to continue to bring you this content, and I'm really, really excited that it's really taking off and people are resonating with it. So if you resonate with my stuff and the words that I give out onto this channel, thank you so much for tuning in. It's really means a lot to me, and I'm happy to be here sharing this stuff with you. So anyway, thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you in your reading. Bye. Hi, friends. Welcome to this Pick a Card Tarot reading. If you missed the intro, this is going to be a reading on who are you in this incarnation? What is this lifetime about for you? What is the meaning here? What's happening? And this was inspired by the Wild Unknown Archetypes deck, a new deck that I got recently. Yeah, it's got this really great spread going. So this is the first reading I've done like this, and I'm really excited about it. We'll use a little bit of the guidebook, but mostly just my intuition. But we will use the archetype cards in order to answer this. So you chose pile number 1, the one with this shooting star here. So we'll put that at the bottom. And well, let's read the quote in the back too. You are magic. Okay, wow. So we'll put that there. So already there's some really powerful magic symbols. There's 4 different archetypes, archetype cards, and then we have tarot cards to kind of supplement. So the archetypes are going to tell us who you are, where you are in this life, what are the tools at your disposal, and the final card is going to talk about why. So we'll just put everything out first, just to get a big major reading. So who are you? You're the creator in this lifetime. And with the you are magic, there's just a certain level of creating your own destiny, I'm feeling. There's this lifetime is all about you coming into your own power and understanding that you have the ability to create anything. There's this limitless possibility that you're supposed to find in this lifetime, I feel. So the cards talking about this, we have the Page of Cups, we have the Judgment, and we have the Magician. Yeah, wow, okay, powerful. Yeah, so you really are the Magician. You are magic. This is really, wow, really powerful reading so far. Okay, so that's the who, and we'll get into this all in detail. But I want to just put everything out first. The where, we have the Bardo. Interesting. The Bardo is this liminal space. Wow. Okay. Yeah, this is going to be a really powerful reading. And we'll talk about all this, and I might even read from the book for some of these too, just because there's some complicated symbols here. So for talking about the Bardo, we have the star. Oh, powerful. And you had the star starting out. Wow. Okay. Oh, wow. This is a powerful reading. And we have the 8 of Wands. Okay. And then I'm just going to try to fit all of this together here. That might have some trouble. My little pile's getting in the way. This is talking about with what? What are the tools? The kiss. Wow. Okay. And we have the 6 of Wands. We've got the Empress, and we've got the Son of Pentacles. And then for your final, I don't know where we're going to fit it. I think in the next ones, I'm going to get rid of my little spread there. But it's nice that we're celebrating 1,000 subscribers. So thank you if you subscribed. Now, this is the why. The why you have is Thanatos, which is powerful. And then describing Thanatos, we have Judgment again. Wow. Okay. We've got the Queen of Swords. We've got the Ace of Wands. And we've got the Page of Wands. Okay, so that's a little redundant, but that's okay. Lots of cards here. Okay, so let's dive into this. All right, so what is your purpose in this incarnation? Why are you here? What's happening in this lifetime for you? So who are you? First of all, you've got the Creator. So you really are this powerful being of manifestation, right? You can create anything for yourself. And so as you come into yourself here, this journey of who you are, you're really the magician. But in order for you to fully understand that, there's something that needs to happen in your life, whether this has already happened to you or it's going to happen or it's currently happening. There's this sort of sense of with the Judgment card, and you have the Page of Cups. So the pages are like the start. The pages are always the starting point, and then they're sort of the beginning of this suit. And with the Page of Cups, it's sort of like you have to start out in life, or you started out in life from this place of sort of open-hearted, childlike. And maybe there's a certain level of naivete here as well, right? I'm feeling that, which obviously we all don't know about the world when we're children, and we have to learn things. And so it's sort of like there's this sort of sense of at the beginning of your life, you were kind of like you didn't quite know about how difficult things could be. And so with the Judgment here, it's like there's got to be these certain trials and tribulations that you have to go through in this lifetime in order to fully come into yourself and come into your power. And, a lot of those situations could be really difficult and hard and hardening, and challenging, and the kinds of situations that maybe other people, would just sort of give up on themselves or on life or their situation. But for whatever reason, I feel like, especially with this magician here, it's like you are able to. There's always been this part of you that's within you that knows and feels that that there's something more, there's like a part of you that will never give up, right? And no matter what challenging situation that comes in, and maybe it took you a while, but I feel like at some point, whether you're in this already or whether this is the future for you, there's this sort of reckoning with the Judgment card where you really come into understanding of who you are, and it comes from this place, like I said, of this struggle, of this difficulty, where you don't quite know who you are until you are faced with these sets of challenges, right? And the magician is who you become, right? You are magic. It's like you're faced with enough situations and difficulties and trials and tribulations that bring you into a sense of understanding that eventually you come out as yourself, right? And so that's kind of who you are, right? There's this continuous development in this lifetime where maybe it's like I just see like two different phases, right? And of course we have many phases in life, so take this with a grain of salt. But I do feel like there's this sort of before and after period, right? Where before, maybe you didn't quite know boundaries, or you didn't quite understand how to say no to certain people in certain situations. You didn't have a certain level of discernment, and so you had to learn that through difficult situations, people, places, things, in order to really hone in this magician spirit here. And now let's talk about the where. Like, where are you? Where are you, like, on your journey, and where are you in this life? With the Bardo, I'm going to read it from the book too, because I feel like that would be helpful. But, the Bardo, and for you with the Creator here too, just to go back to that, This can talk about actual creativity as well. Like, not only can you make whatever you want for your life happen, but there could be very well be some like artistic talent here as well. And I'll probably get into that some more, especially with the Empress down here later as well, and the Kiss. We'll get into that. But with this creator archetype, whether or not you feel like you resonate with any kind of artistic ability, there is certainly like that is a possibility for this reading. And creativity doesn't always have to be art as well, right? It can be, it's creation. It's bringing something into the world. With the magician archetype here, it's bringing something from the non-physical into the physical, having an idea and manifesting it into reality. That's what with the magician here, it's like creator magician, you are magic, this archetype. The magician is the only card in the entire deck that has all four of the elements present. It has the wand, the sword, the cup, and the pentacle. And so because of that, the magician is able to harness all of the elements to create anything. So just that's an aside. Now, going back to the bardo, what's really interesting about that is it's a concept that comes from Tibetan Buddhism, which is sort of, it's a part of like, there's this place that you go after you die in Tibetan Buddhism that's sort of like, in between your reincarnated state, right? Where it's like, it's death basically, but it's like the in-between place. So, yeah, okay, I'm going to just read this. It is said that the bardo is a place between this life and the next, a liminal realm through which souls pass. Envisioning this inherently mysterious place creates the potential for us to rise above the concerns of this world and see our relationships through a cosmic and timeless lens. We may receive messages from those who are no longer with us or see visions of lives not yet lived. In the bardo, there is potential to forgive the unforgivable, to say the unsaid, to see the unseen, to love the unloved, to let go of all of the things that cause us pain. The bardo suspends us in its spaciousness for just long enough to open us to the higher wisdom. Its energy does not belong to Earth as we know it, but rather to the cosmic network of which we are a single thread. Yeah, so it's sort of like, I'm getting the sense of this being the place in this lifetime. Like, where are you in this lifetime? With it having this bardo, it's like this particular, if you wanted to believe in reincarnation, which I personally do, I think personally how I view it is, and you take this with a grain of salt, obviously, that, we spend these lifetimes to learn things and to grow. And at each lifetime we come into living, we learn important lessons that, our larger self, our higher self, our being beyond this lifetime, like, needs to learn. So we come to life specifically for, working through this stuff, working through karma. Karma being sort of just the actions that we do, having like every action has an equal but opposite reaction, right? So that's sort of karma is like the idea that our being has that as well. It's not just that, like, you do something bad happens to you. It's that, like, all of your actions reverberate outside of yourself because we are all this one interconnected being, right? Which it talked about that. Rather a network of which we are a single thread, right? So that's sort of this idea. And so, with the bardo being here, it's almost like something, like I said, that there's this thing that happens in your life, wherever it is, whether it's closer to the beginning or not, but it's just like in the middle of your life is kind of what I'm feeling, and, take it with, you may have already gone through this, it may be happening now, whatever. There's this period that you go through at some point where you almost kind of have these, it's like awakening, almost, yeah, it's like a spiritual awakening, if you want to use that terminology, or this sort of something happens where your perspective is taken away from the small individual, and you start to be able to see sort of the cosmic, right? And not in a way, like, sometimes I've had these sort of moments in my own life, some of them feeling more more like mania than others, right? Where it's like we can open ourselves to the cosmic, and then, you know, the illusions of grandeur can come in, right? I don't see that from this. That's not kind of what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing instead is this idea that you open yourself up to the idea that there's more than just you, that interconnected nature of reality. And so, you know, and we have some cards here to kind of further explain this. This Bardo state, you know, with the Eight of Wands, that's swift, fast moving energy. And the star is sort of, oh yeah, okay. The star is it comes after the tower. So the tower comes and crumbles everything that we know, and the star comes in to shine a light, guiding us to the next step. And you do have the shooting star here as your as the card that you chose. So, you know, with that being the place, it's like this lifetime where you are is that sort of awakening, right? And it's the sort of awakening that like reverberates past lives in general, right? And like this book was saying with it, you know, it's like it offers the opportunity to see, you know, potential futures and to see just like everything, right? And that larger cosmic perspective. um and so I think it comes from, like I said, some kind of difficult situation. And so, you know, I do personally believe we choose a lot of the things that we go through in life in order to learn things from them. And I know that can sound sort of harsh, and you know, I don't necessarily mean it in a way that's, you know, saying that everything that happens to everyone is deserved or any of that. Like, I'm not saying that, or that we choose suffering necessarily. But I do think that a couple things about suffering, some notes that I believe personally, which comes a little bit like through Buddhism and Eastern philosophy, but mostly just the perspective I've gained through life. Um, I think that suffering is a part of this reality, right? It's a part of our lives, and we all experience it. Um, and so I feel as though, you know, anything difficult that happens in our lives, they offer an opportunity to grow. Um, and that is, you know, I'm not necessarily saying it's supposed to happen, right? Like, I think that if we could try to alleviate suffering as much as humanly possible, we should be doing that. I think so. Um, but sometimes when difficult and challenging situations happen to us, they give us the opportunity to sort of leave the limited perspective that we've been in. And so, and I do think that sometimes we need a sort of Deus ex machina moment, right? What does that mean? That's the Latin for God in the machine, which is sort of like this moment that comes out of nowhere, seemingly, and pulls us kind of open, right? Pulls us perspective open, and I think that the tower in tarot can really represent that. And so I think it's interesting you have the star here, because it's almost like after that tower moment with this Eight of Wands, there's this rush in where you totally open up to this magician archetype that is you. You are the magician, and maybe you in the past have just seen yourself as a page, right? Maybe that you've gone through situations, the way that you grew up, the social conditioning, all of that kind of thing has been such that you have only seen yourself as this page of cups. You've downplayed your own role in life and in the world. You've said, well, I don't really know, which is, you know, it's a humble energy, which is nice to have, right? It's important to be humble in life, but at the same time, it was taken to an extreme, I feel. And because of that, not because of that, but in relation to that, the only way that you were going to open yourself up, or are going to, you know, take this past, present, future, this is a lifetime I'm talking about here. The only way that you can open yourself up to that new understanding of reality for yourself is to go through certain situations that force you to have to pull into your own power, that force you to you have to see your own power, because you have to use it to get out of certain things, to move. And so I feel like once that's out of the way, you had this cosmic awakening where you see reality from a new perspective, and that rushes in. This Bardo state is open to you. You know, you're open to the cosmic. You're open to um, this opening, and this is the place that you need to be in this lifetime. Like that's where you were always supposed to be. Was that opening, and because of that creator archetype, it's like you, when you have that rush out of you, then you can start to see this sort of stuff. So the next card that comes in, that's the who and the where. Now we've got the tools of with what. So what is it that this is gifting you? Because I feel like that it's like you've opened up to it, and now you have this power as a magician. So the tool that you have is the kiss, which I find really interesting. I'm gonna read that from the book as well. Just because I'm not the most familiar with this book yet. I just got it, and it's really quite beautiful, but I want to just get the words that they're saying here. So just one second. The kiss. Okay, so the tool is the kiss. Before a first kiss, the air is electrified. Each breath is alive with possibility and magic. What will their lips be like? Their tongue? Do they want me in return? The archetypal energy of the kiss is a heightened sensation of merging with other, of letting in what was moments ago separate, two becoming one. It is risky but beautiful business. These moments forever change us as we move past the solitary self toward union and acceptance. This card suggests true intimacy around the corner, which requires bravery and surrender. When the kiss takes a non-human form, which I feel like is what I'm feeling for this, it may be experienced as touching the sacred. Yep, this is exactly what we're talking about. Hearing a whisper or being graced by a divine being. You will recognize the presence of the kiss by cold chills and an awakening of the heart. Yeah, so that's what I'm feeling. I mean, take it as it resonates. If you feel like, you know, your own power of romance and relationship is a big tool for you in this lifetime, obviously take that as the symbol. But the way that I'm feeling this is I feel like, you know, as we've shown, you know, you've now in the story that we've been telling, awakening yourself to this cosmic puts you in connection with the divine itself. And so it's almost like I feel, you know, I don't know if you resonate with being a channeler or, you know, some kind of reader like this, intuitive. I feel this deep intuition, though, for you, particularly in art. You know, there could be this channeling of artistic talent with the kiss as well. Like, I feel like it's this this relationship with the divine itself. It comes into reality through you, that you become an opening for beauty. And I feel beauty in particular with the kiss. It feels as though this is sort of, it does feel romantic to me, but it's not like I don't feel like it's a romance with another person. It's almost like your romance with life. There's this sort of cherishing energy here where you become so thankful to be alive in life. And I'm just getting signs from outside as well, some lights flickering. It's like this relationship you have to the universe and to life and to being around and in this reality. That's your romantic relationship almost. It's like you have this romantic relationship with the world itself, and you share that with the world. It's like you share that beauty and interconnectedness with everyone through some kind of artistic pursuit. Like I was saying, maybe you're bringing some kind of art into the world, writing, painting, music. Take it as it resonates. Drawing, anything, or it's just like it's your way of life itself, this like joie de vivre, which is joy of life in French, this sort of like the open-heartedness, like the book said, that open heart. I feel that. And let's talk about the symbols here. You know, you have overcoming suffering with the Six of Wands here, and the triumph, victory, but from this like coming out of the sorrow and into the rainbow. With the Empress, it continues that it's a divine feminine connection for this as well. We all, depending, it doesn't matter what your gender is, we all have a connection to the divine masculine and the divine feminine. We all have a balance of that in our lives, and I feel for you, it's harnessing the power of the feminine, which is this receptivity, receiving from the universe and putting out into the world this like very beautiful. I just beauty. I keep seeing the word beauty. This like very almost sensual feeling in the art that you put into the world, in the creations that you bring into the world, and the way that you interact with people in whatever it is that you're building. There is this sort of feeling of sensuality, but it's like a very loving open-heartedness. And then with the Son of Pentacles, it's like it brings in this opportunity of creating abundance as well, but it's physical too. The Pentacles are the physical world, and the suns. Oh, sorry, the suns in this deck are not the pages; they're the knights. So yeah, so the knights. I tend to interpret knights as movement. What is the movement in this? But it's interesting too that it's a stag here, which is the masculine. So there is this, like I was saying, we all have both. There is this interconnected feminine masculine. Combination here as well, which I think is really, really interesting with this kiss. Well, and think about it. I mean, the kiss, like I was saying, it's that union of masculine and feminine. So maybe you're bringing that union in together in yourself, right? That you are creating the yin and yang balance, the balance of masculine and feminine, and part of that is through whatever your creations are. And it's going to change your physical world too, with this movement in the physical. Pentacles are all about the physical world. It's like that this, as this is your tool in this lifetime, the thing that you have to bring you through. Your tool is this interconnectedness with the universe itself, that you have this ability to channel the divine and to use that. It's a very soft power. I feel like it is this assertive power with the masculine, but it's a soft, intuitive, held back, patient sort of energy, slow moving, slow building, but powerful. And known, I do feel this sort of known energy. Like it's nobody can look past it, right? It's like it's so powerful when it comes into somebody's life. Whatever this thing that you put into the world is, your tool is this ability to bring into the world the universe. People can't look past it, right? Like it's like nobody can ignore it when it comes into somebody's life. It's this sort of like deeply powerful, perspective shifting sort of thing, in a really lovely sort of way. And that's sort of the tool that you have, is your ability to create that in somebody else, that the change within someone else that you yourself had to learn through these difficult circumstances. Maybe you have the key now to bring that sort of thing into somebody else's life as well, and as a channel of the divine. Wow, this is a very powerful reading. So that was the tool. Now the reason why. Why is this? And you have Thanatos, which I'm going to read as well. There aren't too many archetypes for this end section, so we'll see sort of what this is. And then I think because we have a lot of cards out as well, that will kind of help us gain a better understanding of what it's talking about. But I just need to find this here. Great. Thanatos. Okay, which is death. Don't be afraid, right? This doesn't necessarily mean, well, we'll see what it means. It's probably going to be powerful, but let's just talk about it. You've got a web here, the web of interconnectedness with the Bardo. There is this sort of mediumship almost. Let's just read it, though. It is tempting to oversimplify death and sum it up as transformation. But the true archetypal resonance of Thanatos cannot be easily assimilated or contained. Death is ongoing and omnipresent, an eternal response to the gift of birth. Witnessing the ending of another being, creature, phase, or stage has deep consequences for the psyche. We are forever changed by Thanatos as it sweeps us under its wings, making us relinquish control in every form. It leaves a mark of ash upon our heart, signifying we have touched the cusp of the underworld and will return to the land of the living eventually with more compassion. Okay, here it is. Yeah, with more compassion and wisdom to share. The capacity is needed in our world. One who has faced the annihilation of Thanatos can face anything. When this card appears, it signifies an initiation into the underworld. Yeah, so, we don't have to get too death magic about this, but, it's kind of a little bit what we're talking about here. Um, you know, yeah, underworld energy is hard, just as somebody who's had to face it myself. But this is exactly what I've been talking about. You have this sort of joy of life that comes from having faced this darkness, having faced the end itself and come out as a new, changed being, right? So I do feel like there's a period of your life where you have to face that within, and then that transforms your entire being into um, this open spirit of love and kindness and beauty. But it comes from facing the deep depths of your own soul and the difficult situation, the existential truth that we all live in. That things will end. That the end is here for us eventually. For everything, right? That change is the inevitable marker of reality. And you know it can be challenging, but it's also liberating, and quite beautiful too, because there is another side. There is the other side that we can reach, having gone through this. And there's a certain sense of fearlessness that I feel for you as well. That these difficult situations that you've been through have created a fearless person. And with the Page of Wands and the Ace of Wands, it's like this gift of following your passions no matter what, of always being able to begin anew, right? That this underworld energy can do that for us too. It gives us the gift of rebirth, of creating a new being. And it's funny, you have both the Bardo and the Death card, and this is all about reincarnation sort of as well. It's like this particular lifetime is really important for your whole being, your whole self, in opening up to the greater reality that exists for all of us, and opening you up to that infinity that exists. Feeling like or Ouroboros, right? The snake eating its tail. And you didn't choose a snake, but you chose a star. But still, this is sort of like deep opening to the infinite and the beyond. And it's sort of like, when you what is that, like when you look into the void looks into you, sort of a thing. Like I'm just thinking about it might sound silly, but I'm thinking about a Doctor Who episode where the Doctor is like, and the Master are both talking about, and they're both like, if you don't know Doctor Who, it's like they're both these Time Lords, these alien beings who have this regeneration power where instead of dying, they become a whole new person, and it's played by a different actor every time. So it's a show that's existed since the 60s, but it's the same character who's existed since then, right? And the Master and the Doctor are talking about how they both looked into the Wheel of Time or something like that, or like they looked into the portal of time itself or something like that, because they're Time Lords. They can travel through time and space in their sort of time machine. Called a TARDIS. I'm like really nerding out right now, but it's totally what this is talking about, because they both looked into the void or whatever, or the time thing, all of time and space. And I don't remember who says it, but they talk about how like there's always something that you can do, like something happens when you look into it, right? And for everyone it's different. And so like for the master looked into it and became insane, right? He looked into the time and became this like psychopath. megalomaniac. The doctor looked into it and ran away, and he's just been running ever since, and just like can't stop running, and he's just running. For you, it's almost like you're, we'll take that as a metaphor for the same kind of larger cosmic thing of like looking into, the underworld can be talking about that. There's the void, or the great, undoing of everything in all of us, and it's like you look into that and you see compassion. You see compassion for other people. You see compassion for yourself. You're awoken to the interconnectedness of all people, and because of that, that inspires your heart to awaken and to share this compassion and this beauty with the world, because you see it's like it's a choice that you have. Was before, I feel like at the beginning of your life, you had this as your unconscious, right? Because you've been the magician, you've been the creator the whole time, but when it was unconscious, you just sort of felt like this is how the world is supposed to be, and you felt like like this is how the world was, and it was sort of maybe devastating for you to learn that most people don't see the world the way that you do, and that might have been a challenge for you for a while, and maybe you even spent periods of your life where you denied who you were from yourself, and you tried to conform. But this sort of period that you go through where you really have to face the darkness within you and the difficult depths that exist within all of us, it opens you up to this sort of awakening where you totally seize who you are, and you open that to share with the world, and you create this sort of this beautiful opening. And you have more boundaries now too with this Queen of Swords. And I think I talked a little bit about boundaries at one point in this reading, but it's like that's sort of what happens. The change is sort of like it's no longer coming from a place that people can think. I mean, people might think that you're still naive because you have this open-hearted beauty that you're sharing in the world, but you know how to protect it now because you've gone through everything that you've gone through, or you will know how to eventually, right? Take it as it resonates where you are in this journey. This is a whole lifetime I'm talking about. There's something that happens that brings you into the ability to continue to share that love and that open-heartedness with the whole world, but now nobody can take it from you, whereas before maybe you were attracted to the narcissist, or the that kind of archetype of the person who just takes. You're not going to just give to anybody. You're going to be discerning in how you spend your energy, because you know how important it is, and you're open and willing to share that whole thing with the whole world. So holy moly, this is a deeply, deeply powerful reading, but I think I'm going to leave it there. If this resonated with you, let me know in the comments. I know sometimes these underworld and death imagery can be really challenging and difficult, and so I hope that it doesn't scare you, because it's heavy stuff, right? Like I said, that underworld energy is it's dark. The heavy darkness, right? It's hard, but it's sort of like sometimes we have to see it. It's the same thing as So in the it just reminds me of some of the ancient Maya, and a lot of the ancient cultures of Central America. They had this sort of archetype where the hero twins, sort of their founding gods or deities, beings who started their civilization in their mythical understanding. They have to go through, and this is the underworld symbolism in a nutshell. They have to go into the underworld, right? Because the sun was stolen. I can't remember specifics. Something was taken. One of the brothers was taken. Something was taken into the underworld. And so they had to go into the underworld and face that darkness. And then they had to go out of it. And they had to take the love back and bring it back into the sun. And we have this in Western symbolism as well, with the myth of Persephone, right? Who ate the food of the underworld, and so she's both a part of the underworld and the goddess of spring. I feel that with the Empress here as well, that springtime energy. Yeah, the spring. You are the spring. You embody the spring in this lifetime. That is who you are, because the spring is the rebirth out of the death, and so it's like you have to go through the winter to birth the spring into the world, and so like I said, facing that darkness isn't easy. So if that's where you are right now, or if you haven't even gone there yet and you're heading in that direction, just keep the faith of who you are, because you are this magician and you are able to create anything into this world, no matter what that is. So anyway, pile number one, I'm going to leave you there. That was a deeply, deeply powerful reading. If you would like a private reading with me, we can go in depth about you more, but this is about as in depth as I think you could get. But I'm totally down and willing to go into whatever you want to know. With this celebration of our 1,000 followers, all of my readings are now 20% off. You can find information on the website at www.junodrome.com. If you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. It really helps us out. And then there's a raffle to give away 2 free readings, plus a set of something else. I don't know, some kind of gift I'm going to mail you. You can enter that raffle on the website as well. Once again, that's www.junodrome.com. Yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks to everyone who has, new and old. I'm excited to continue bringing as much content as I can for you. So this channel's taken off and I'm ready to go with you. So yeah, let me know what you think. Either way, I love hearing from you in the comments. Yeah, pile number one, I'm going to leave you there. Thank you so much. Bye. Hi there, pile number 2. Welcome to your reading. So this is going to be your reading for who are you in this lifetime? What is this incarnation for you? If you want to subscribe to reincarnation, this is sort of, we're going to go along that line, but you don't necessarily have to. It's just sort of like, what is this life on the larger context for you, in the grand scheme of you and your higher self and your being, as you are here on this earth plane. What is it for? What's happening for you? And this is a reading that's inspired by this new deck that I've gotten. It's the Wild Unknown Archetypes deck by Kim Cranes, and it's a beautiful, beautiful deck, really powerful, and goes very deep into different symbols. And so I'm sort of new to the deck, but I wanted to do a reading with it. I found this really great way to work with the archetypes as a suggestion in the book, and so I thought I'd do this reading about that. So you chose the pile with this this crystal. It's some kind of quartz, but it's a yellow, so maybe yellow calcite sort of a thing. Solar plexus energy with the yellows. Yeah, what does it say on the back? It says, you are a rare find. We've got a bunch of crystals in here. So something to do with your uniqueness. There's a part of you deeply uniquely you about this life. And then there's also sort of, with all the crystals and that crystal energy, sort of like I'm getting this chakra system in general. You've got all these different colors, and crystals can represent sort of aspects of the chakras. So maybe there's a certain energy movement about you in this lifetime. Maybe there's something about you kind of being able to work with energy. We'll see in the cards. So I'm going to lay them all out first. I did that with the last reading, and I think it worked really well. And then we'll get into the details. So there's 4 different archetype cards that we're going to use, and then I have a bunch of tarot to kind of supplement and add to that. So the first one is, who are you in this lifetime? The second one is, where are you? What is the location of this life is taking place? Not necessarily physically, but sort of on a metaphorical level. Where are you? With what? What are the tools at your disposal in this lifetime as you move forward? And then the why, sort of some of the reasons and the understandings of that. So the first one, who are you? It's the unseen. Ooh, that's beautiful. I'm feeling the sort of unconscious energy. And we'll read from the book too for some of this. So supplementing the unseen, we have the 10 of Swords. Okay, wow. The King of Wands and the High Priestess. Wow, deeply powerful. Deeply, deeply powerful. So we'll keep going here. Like I said, I'm gonna lay them all out first, and then we'll keep going. Where are you? What is the location? The bridge. Cool. I'm getting like definitely Rainbow Bridge vibes from the Nordic symbolism. And we have the King of Wands again. Okay, cool. Double confirmation. And we have the magician. Powerful. Okay. Yeah, I do feel a little bit of similarity to pile number one. We're going to keep going, but if you felt any kind of resonance with pile number one as well, maybe there's some more messages for you there, but we'll keep going in here. The tool at your disposal is the mirror. Oh wow. And maybe you act as a mirror with the bridge here, the unseen. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting some powerful images from this. And we have the 2 of Pentacles and we have the 3 of Cups. Yep. I'm getting a lot of information. And then the final card, the why. What is the reasons? And we have Euros. And then supplementing that, we have the Emperor and we have Justice. Yeah, so definitely some spillover cards from pile number one, but this is definitely a different energy. So why don't we just get into this? The unseen. I want to read from the book about what the unseen is, because I feel like I said, I'm new to this deck and I'm still kind of getting an understanding on what it's talking about specifically. But there's some cool symbols in here. So the unseen is just as it sounds. We cannot see it, yet it sees us, watching and waiting with wisdom, both kind and instructive. We feel this presence, sense it, intuit it, and then doubt its existence, though it rallies our attention time and time again. The energy of the unseen may come in many forms. A compelling dream, a sudden insight, a clear voice, a vision or message from a loved one who has passed to the other side. It is natural to fear these communications as they challenge our perceptions of what is real. When this card appears, your guides are near. The eternal is present. The doorway between worlds is ajar, and that's cool. You have the bridge too, so that's yeah. Listen. The sounds may seem as though they come from a distant land, but they call from your innermost chambers. Yeah, so it's sort of, there's something about your unconscious here. And with the High Priestess as well and the unseen, I think who you are in this lifetime is a deeply, deeply intuitive person. And you're represented by the unconscious itself. So sometimes that can be I'm just getting divine feminine vibes, especially with the High Priestess. Even though you do have the King of Wands as well, it's sort of like there's this powerful energy of like you are this person in this lifetime who is highly psychic, I feel, deeply connected to the unconscious. And so it's sort of like, with the 10 of Swords here as well, there's sort of like I think that there's a learning curve that comes in your life with the King of Wands as well, which is, like I said, a little similar to pile number one, but different. It's sort of like you have this sort of, with the unseen, it's like, I think that for a while in this lifetime, there's going to be periods of this lifetime where you're not aware of your unconscious thinking, right? And a lot of times with our unconscious, we're not consciously thinking about it. That's why it's unconscious. The things that are in our unconscious, or our subconscious, the things that are there, are the things that they're kind of like the underlying stuff that we use to move forward. I'm thinking of just my brain's going to the term, what do you call the code on a computer that's like the background code or whatever that's going, and not the, like, if you think about not that we're computers, but if you think about our conscious selves as the GUI, the GUI interface that you interact with on a computer, the unconscious is all of the code that's behind that's actually performing all of the actions and stuff. And so we don't see that code, that back code, but it's there running these operations. And so how does that translate into your day-to-day life? That's sort of like you take actions and maybe you don't necessarily know why you're doing it, right? When we're acting in an unconscious way, it's just sort of we're doing the stuff that we just do, and we don't really think about it. And a lot of times that can come in like different assumptions that we have about the world and that kind of thing. And those are there based on, our childhood experiences, the families that we grew up in, the culture and society that we exist in, the events that happened to us in our past. All of these things kind of add up into the unconscious, and the unseen. And so I feel like for you to be represented by that, I feel like there's this sort of learning curve, like I said, that you need to go through, that awakens you, like kind of like a spiritual awakening, I guess, into this high priestess being. And it's sort of like, I feel like, especially with this Ten of Swords, it's like you have to unlearn a bunch of stuff, right? I feel like there's a period of your life where you're undoing and unlearning a lot of things from the past. And if we take this to be to be reincarnation kind of a reading, like this could even be past lives, right? Take that as it resonates. It could just be childhood stuff, but it could very well be situations and things that existed in past lives. Maybe there's some patterns, with the unseen as well. I'm getting the sense that this lifetime you're undoing all of these unconscious patterning. That's one of the most important things. Like that's who you are. It personifies who you are. You're undoing all of these unconscious thinking. And it's like you're going to be going through these trials and tribulations and lessons in life in order to undo these patterns that may honestly go back lifetimes, right? These could be things that you picked up a long time ago. And maybe not just that, this could be generational stuff too. If we don't want to look at reincarnation, this could be talking about actual ancestral stuff. Maybe you're undoing ancestral patterns and ancestral karma. And with this high priestess and this king of wands, it's like I get this very great balance between the feminine and the masculine. I do feel there's this sort of divine feminine energy here with the high priestess archetype, and sort of like it's like you have the ability to kind of go into the past, right? I'm getting this idea, this picture of there's this really great book by Garth Nix. It's the series, the Sabriel series. There's a character in the novel, the Abhorsen, called Lyral, and she's sort of she was a orphan and grew up in this culture of psychics who all can tell the future. And she is not psychic, so she never really got that. But instead, she has this other power called the remembrance, and she's a remembrancer. And it's funny because we have the mirror here, because she uses a mirror in order to do this. So this is very much like this character. She's able to see into the past, and so she can't tell the future, but she has this mirror that looks deep into the past and can see back. And so she's able to finally see who her parents were, because she's looks into this mirror and finds out like she's the daughter of both this psychic woman and then also the Abhorsen, who's this person who can go into death. And I won't go into it too much. It's a great series, by the way, if you're looking for a fantasy series. Wonderful. But what's interesting about this is I feel like that's a little bit about who you are, is similar to this. It's like you have this incredible power to heal this past karma, to heal intergenerational problems. Like you came here to do that. I think a part of it is like you came here to you're a rare find as well with the crystals, that energy healing. It's like you're here to heal the energy, not only for yourself but for your lineage, for your family. It's like you came in to clear all of that and to start something new, to start a new moment. And it's like I feel like it's multi-layer like that. It's not just for your ancestors, right, and your family line in this life, but I think it's also like past lives and all this sort of thing. It's like you're here to do some deep healing and then transform and use that moving forward. So we got a little bit about who you are. You are the you're here to dive into the unconscious. And then I think as well, I think you're highly intuitive, highly psychic. I think you're in this lifetime to be that, to bring that into the world, to be another person who's bringing in the intuitive and the psychic into our culture, into our time, right, into your family. As you do that healing, as you heal yourself, right, we heal the world. The only way we can save the world, right, quote unquote, if that's what you're trying to do, is to save yourself, right? You can't go out and save the world, right? You can only work on what's here and present. Um, and if we all were to do that, then we would all be saving the world, quote unquote, because we would all be working on ourselves, and then we'd all be healing ourselves, right? So it's like, a lot of us need to be coming in, and I think there's a whole group of us here on this planet at this time who are really working on transmuting and transforming. There is this transmutation element to you as well. We're transmuting these energies that exist on the planet to heal ourselves and our world around us, our families, so that we can leave the world in a better place. And we can change the energy that's surrounding us. And I feel like you are definitely one of these people, right? We're bridging the gap between past and future, right? That's what the present is. It's a bridge from where we've been to where we're going. It's like that's what you are. So let's read the bridge. That's the location. That's where you are. You're in this bridge, and I do feel like that. It's like this interconnectedness, right? That you are a connection point between, like I was saying, what has been and what can be, what will be. And so it's like you're helping to bring into the world this sort of new energy, that the new possibility, the new world that we could have, and you can take this however you want. I mean, it's like there's different languages for this that I've heard. There's like, creating 5D consciousness or whatever, you take that as it resonates. I think that we can get lost in the terminology, and it kind of, sometimes to me it feels a little bit like word salad, It's, so take what the meaning behind that. What does that mean? It's like there is a transformation of consciousness happening on this planet right now. I feel it myself, and many of us are feeling that. And so you're definitely here to help anchor that into the world, right? There's another one of those buzzwords. It's funny that I'm using these, but it's true. Like, what other words can we use instead? To bring those energies into this planet and to bring them into the world, right? I do feel that, like you're a part of that. And let's read the bridge. Bridges are built to connect two worlds. They create flow, allowing us to travel between realms, ideologies, personalities. This archetype is the gesture of acceptance, of saying yes rather than withdrawing, separating, and saying no. When we cross a bridge to an unknown land, the unseen, you're unconscious, you don't know, we are led magically into a new reality. We open up to otherness. Healing and communication are made possible. We enter a state of curiosity, wonder, and learning. The shaman, for example, creates the bridge between the everyday world and the sacred. Yeah, there is a big shamanic energy here as well, I think that you're here as well in this with the magician as well and the King of Wands twice. Like there is this deep sense of that healing, that shamanic healing. I'll get into that in a second. Let me finish this. This card asks us to study the connections between the seemingly disconnected parts of our lives, relationships, ideologies, histories. Remember that a bridge can't be forced. It must be made with love, or its structures will not withstand the inevitable weather of life. Yeah, so shamanic energy, for sure. I feel that, like that's a part of why you're in this lifetime. And I feel like maybe you've done this kind of work before. Like I said, these multiple lifetimes, right? It's like you've worked through a lot of things before. Your higher self has in its many iterations, right? And like I said, take it as it resonates. You don't have to necessarily believe in one-to-one reincarnation. I think that if you look at the universe and the way that we're all interconnected, I think we kind of all live every life in a certain sense, because we're all the universe experiencing itself in different ways, and in the multitude. And so it's like you have the ability to connect into that and bring that into this world. And it's like you have this deep inset wisdom that you've come into this life for. And it really is, when I keep looking at those crystals, it's something about energy itself, moving energy. You could even be like an energy healer, right? Like you could be in this lifetime to actually, like Reiki healing might be something that you'd be interested in. There's something very physical about this for you as well that I'm feeling. It's like you're able to definitely, it's like you're breaking all of these patternings that are in the world itself, and building in a connection to the new world. With the King of Wands here twice, and the Magician and the High Priestess, it's let me just check my camera real quick. Okay, we're still going. Sorry. So there really is something about this this blending of the masculine and the feminine. So like you've got almost this, you don't necessarily have to identify as being androgynous or, any of that kind of thing, but there's definitely like you're able to wield the divine masculine and the divine feminine in a very balanced way. So you not only you have the intuition of the High Priestess, but you have the action of the King of Wands. So it's like you're able to bring in these ideas and move them. And that's where this energy is. It's like you can feel the energy that exists in the world and in certain places, and you can take that and then you can shift it. And there is this transmutational sort of element to this as well, where you're taking something and changing it and putting it back. And that's a big thing about about Reiki in general. Like I think that could really you could help you identify it. Like either Reiki will be something that you could do for others, or it might be something that's incredibly important for you to do on yourself, especially like look at this, right? I never noticed this before about the Ten of Swords, but it's almost as if each sword in this Ten of Swords is blocking each and piercing each one of their chakras, right? I'm definitely feeling that. So I feel like, like I said, there's got to be this transmutation that happens in your lifetime, and you may not have been through this yet, like none of this might even, if you're at the beginning part of this, you might be watching this and being like, this doesn't make sense for me at all, right? Because I don't know any of this, right? But in reality, it's like it's because there's all these blockages that are coming from the patterning that you grew up in, the circumstances you grew up in, the situations, different things. You have all of these chakras blocked. And so I think that there's a part of you that needs to learn how to move this energy, and even do Reiki on yourself, and then that can help shift you. I know for me, I went through a lot of difficult situations, and I went through some extensive Reiki healing with a friend of mine, and then I learned how to do it on myself too, and that helped me so much. So there's a certain feeling here of needing to unblock your own physical chakra systems. Maybe like with this unseen too. Maybe you're somebody who not disembodied, but is sort of disassociative, right? Maybe there's a certain part of you that disassociates, or you're outside of your body a lot, and there's a certain element of physicality here that needs to happen, that you'll either do in your lifetime. You've already done this, you're going to do it. There's something, like I said, this is an entire lifetime I'm reading here, so take where you are on this journey. But there's a certain part of you that needs to, or has already done this, but come back into your body and transmute all of that energy out of you. And then by doing so, you're able to see, right, this bridge here. You're able to bridge that together, and able to do that for others as well. So that's sort of like where you are in this lifetime, as you're a bridge. And so there's almost this bridge of going on as well, of like you're I'm just getting this feeling of like you're bridging the modern day with maybe some of the ancient that has been lost, the ancient wisdoms that have been lost. There's a certain level of that coming into this as well. The sort of like maybe you've been on this earth before many times. a long, long time ago. And so you're kind of taking some of that ancient wisdom that you already have in your unconscious, the unseen, and you're bridging that into this world, kind of sewing it back together. Like I'm just getting this image of like sewing the world back together. That's been like everything that's been split apart based on the history that we've had over the last few hundred years, few thousand years, right? If you want to think about these sort of larger epics that we're moving through, right? We're moving into the age of Aquarius, right, or whatever that is, and so it's like there's that idea that we're shifting out of the age of Pisces and into the age of Aquarius, and so there's all of this stuff that happened in this last age that needs to be taken and changed and transmuted and moved forward. And there's this sort of like, I'm just feeling this sewing energy, it's like you're sewing things into the world. And so now we're going to look at the tool that you have, and we have the mirror. And the first thing that I thought about the mirror, and there was also that sort of remembrance stuff I was talking about, but I think that you have, and especially with the Three of Cups here too, I think that you've been through some difficult situations with this Ten of Swords here, where you have been a mirror to others, right? And so it's like, I think that like I said, before you've gone through this sort of transformation where you really figure out who you are, and that's where, pile number one had a big transformation as well, and so that's the similarities between those two. But anyway, that's an aside. Before that, you've gone through this sort of transformation, I think that you mirrored people's energy back to them. I think that's a part of something that you do, and you'll probably still do this even if you've gone through stuff. But it's something that I know happens to me a lot, where people look at you and they see their own wounds and they project those wounds onto you. And so it's like, I think before maybe you've learned how to do this, where you get to this like stuck part, before you transmute that and take those out, all of those swords that are not yours blocking your chakras. It's like people have maybe you've been through a lot of social situations where people have just kind of gone crazy at you, for lack of a better word, or, people have attacked you for no reason, or you feel like you've been like attacked a bunch, or just like out of nowhere somebody does something crazy, and just like that's happened over and over. And like people, and not everybody, but certain people have like really severe negative reactions when they come into contact with you that don't make sense to you, and it's because you act as a mirror to them. So you are showing them to the core of where their wounds are, and that they're not ready to deal with it, or they don't want to deal with it. And so they take that and they project it on you, and they say, hey, no, this is you're doing this, even though they're the ones who are doing that. And so it's like you have this sort of, and like I said before, maybe you learned how to recognize that people are doing that. It's quite possible that you took those on and you said, okay, I am doing this. And you took on other people's stuff, right? And you took on other people's things, and it left you imbalanced. And so a part of this mirror too is learning how to recognize the self, right? So I do think that there's a certain period of, it's not really shown here, but I think that it's important for you to disassemble yourself from others too, like taking the time to really maybe be on your own for a while, and like take off all of the things, like that's the chakra healing, right? I really do think that Reiki healing would be deeply helpful for you if you haven't undergone that, where you heal each of your energy points, and then what can happen if you are 100% ready to do this. And I think because you're a highly psychic and intuitive person, this kind of thing would be really helpful for you. But what can happen sometimes doing Reiki is, like, when you're getting each chakra healed, it'll bring your awareness to those moments that are blocking, like certain things happen in our lives that block our chakra systems. And so it's like these moments in time will pop into your mind as you're healing. At least that happened for me. And then you start to see, and you can understand, like, oh, this happened then, and that's why I'm feeling like this. And you got all of that sort of stuff coming, right? And so it's like taking off other people's things that they've put onto you. And then I think as you learn how to do this, though, you'll start to feel way more balanced, and then you'll be able to attract into your life the people who really, are on the same page as you, right? Like I said, there's a bunch of us who are doing this in this planet right now, and so like the more that you learn how to recognize, oh, this person is projecting onto me. This is not me. I'm going to let this thing go because this isn't really my thing to hold. This is their thing. And this person, as much as I have compassion for them, and, I think that I need to not be around them. And it's possible too that by you walking away from certain relationships and things, that you open up a certain level of healing in them that they need to do anyway too, so there's this sort of bringing back to it. It's like whether you even want to or not, right? Because it's unconscious. It's like you act as this mirror and the bridge, right? So it's like you open people up to their inner self and their inner being. And a lot of times when people aren't ready to see that, they will shun away from it, right? Because it's too much and they don't want to deal with it. And so like those kinds of people are going to have a really negative reaction to you. But the kind of people who are ready to see themselves and take that and learn from that, you might have really great relationships with those. And that's where this balance comes in with other people, with the Two of Pentacles. So it's like definitely, keep yourself open to, if something's going to happen with certain people, be open to, like, don't take it all personally, right? Like if somebody has a deeply negative reaction to you, like let them keep it. Don't take it on. Let them, if you're going to be a mirror to somebody, be that mirror, right? Let it bounce off and go back to them. Like don't let it come into you. So the final card is the Y, and it is the Euros, which I think is like love, right? And is it like a sexual love? I don't know. It doesn't have to be. I'm not interpreting it that way, but I've never, like I said, this is a new deck for me, so I'm still kind of figuring out what the heck it's talking about. So let's find out. Though Euros can be depicted as unbridled sexuality and eroticism, a more contemplative understanding of this archetypal energy leads us to the root of desire itself. What do we long for? Why are we awakened by love? What makes us hesitate in the face of intimacy? Euros reconnects us with the primal longing to merge with another human being, nature, music, art, plants, food, or anything that we perceive as being separate from us. Euros allows us to momentarily unite. Our hearts embrace otherness, and in doing so, we further understand our own. Our life force awakens. This card reveals an inevitable initiation into love's labyrinth. You may find yourself swirling in a new territory of desire and sensuality. Explore the labyrinth with curiosity and honest heart. And remember, though the way is circuitous, you are always being led towards its center. So that's interesting. I think what I'm just feeling intuitively from this is that there's this sort of, that sexuality kind of a thing. It's very visceral, right? It's very present in the moment. And I feel for you, it's like it goes back to the body, right? It just keeps coming back to the body. A part of, I wouldn't be surprised if you have earth signs heavy in your chart. I'm definitely kind of feeling that. It doesn't have to, but you might. It's just like coming back into the physical. So that sensation, it's like a part of why you're here. As much as it is bringing in that spiritual, and you have all of this reaction with other people, but there's this certain level of physicality as well. It's like you're here to experience life, right? You're here to bring in your uniqueness into this world, but also to be unique in the world. A part of why you're here in this lifetime is to experience life to its fullest, and to cherish the physicality of life, to experience those physical expressions and joys, and sometimes that means difficult situations, right, with this Ten of Swords, but sometimes that means beauty, and there's a sort of sensuality to this as well. It's like really when you're in your most and best and least judging yourself is when you're you're embracing that physicality of who you are, embodiedness. It's like you're here to be embodied as a human being, in that very physical sense. And so I do feel as though, there might be, especially, with this high priestess, to be very intuitive and very up in the upper realms. It's like, and you're bridging that upper realm understanding deep into the physical body. And, one thing I didn't quite say, there's the solar plexus, definitely with the yellows, that comes back into that relationships with other people. I do think that the solar plexus for you, if we're talking about chakras that maybe need balancing with this unbalanced, in this moment when you're watching this, or whenever, some of the chakras you need to work through, I think that there's a certain level of, solar plexus with the yellow, but then when these red colors, the root chakra, that grounded energy, there's a certain level of you needing to ground in the spiritual and the profound, grounding that into the physicality, deep into the earth. And so there might be some like, as you work through balancing the chakras and you learn how to move energies. I feel like moving energies is a big superpower of yours. As you learn how to do that, there's a certain level of grounding yourself and grounding energy into the earth that could really help you. So I would recommend looking into grounding meditations for sure. Maybe going into nature would be really great for you too. We have this sort of water energy here, like going to the ocean. We've got lots of trees in all of these cards, like going into the forest, I think might be really helpful for you. And I do feel that that's a part of it. It's like that physical sensation. There's a part of you that's really here to physically be embodied as a human being, and to embrace that. And so, don't be afraid to embrace the physical sensations of life too, And I'm not necessarily telling you to be a hedonist or whatever, like find the balance, right? But like, I know we have balance here in the Justice card as well. So, interesting. The kind of helping us talk about the Euros, we have the Justice, and then we have the Emperor. That's right. So masculine, feminine archetypes here as well. There's a lot of balancing between the masculine and the feminine, the physical and the spiritual. There's this level, and the bridge itself, there's a level of balancing the inside and the outside with the mirror. You really are, it's like you're working with opposites here. There's that transmutational energy. You're an alchemist. I think you're a natural alchemist, and that kind of alchemy is a part of what you hear, that shamanic healing work as well. It's like as you move through this lifetime and you work through some of those things, the things in life that maybe at the beginning seemed really hard and like not helpful, these difficult situations, especially with other people, you'll start to learn how to use, like, remember, the mirror is your tool, right? So it's not just something that's a curse, it's a gift. So that energy where you're able to mirror somebody's wounds back to them, you'll be able to wield that as a powerful tool. And I think for healing not only yourself, but other people. It's like using that power in this kind of shamanic healing. I do feel like you're a natural healer, particularly with energy work, like I said. And so as you learn how to ground that psychic stuff into the earth, you're really bringing and moving these energies that exist on the planet right now, and shifting and changing those. And the way that we do that, right? The only way to do that is to do it within yourself. So really being present and open with yourself, I think, is a big part of it. And especially with that Euros energy, it's like it's all about the physicality, and that's the here and the now too. So it's like I said, bridging the past and the future together. The only way to do that is to be fully and completely present in this moment. So there's a little bit of learning how to be physically embodied. I think that's a big lesson for you in this lifetime. It's a lot of work for you, potentially at the beginning, but once you get into it, I think that you're going to be, deeply, deeply powerful at it. So it's like, once you learn how to do this, it might not be fully in your wheelhouse. Maybe you're an air sign, honestly, maybe you have air heavily in your chart. And so Earth is like not so not so in your wheelhouse, right? And so it's like you have to learn, because it's not in your wheelhouse. You have to work extra hard at understanding those energies and those archetypes, right? If we think about Avatar: The Last Airbender, right? Where it's like the Avatar's hardest element to learn is the one opposite of what he was born into, right? Maybe that's a part of you, you know what I mean? And so it's like, but the thing about it is that you can become the most powerful at at wielding those tools because they're not in your wheelhouse, right? A lot of times the people who have to work extra hard at learning something um, will become the master at it, whereas somebody where it comes natural to them, they're not thinking about it, so they're not really developing it further than just the beginning stages, right? So I do feel that for you. There's this mastery that's coming into this lifetime that I think you're aided by past experiences, aided by past lives, if you want to think about it that way, as well as burdened by it, right? It's like you have to undo the patterns and the burdens of both ancestral and personal karma. And once you work through that, then you're able to take those lessons and merge them into this reality. And then it's like you open up, and it's like totally transformational. It's like night and day, where maybe at the beginning there's a bunch of karma you have to work through, a bunch of stuff you have to do, and a bunch of things you have to learn. And so in those parts of your life, whether you're in those now or you were in them before or whatever, this stuff maybe doesn't come natural, right? Or it doesn't feel like it comes natural. And so there's a lot of extra work that you have to do in order to really get there. But once you're there, there's this extreme power that you have to heal both yourself and other people. And it's like, as you learn how to heal yourself, you have that skill to use on others and in the world. And there's a bit with the King of Wands too about following your passions and your drives. So it's like keeping that at the forefront, where it's like the things that you feel passionate about, let those be the things that help you move forward in life, and take that as your inspiration to move forward. And be the you that you are, that you are a rare find. So maybe too, there's a bit of unlearning patterns of pretending not to be who you really are, or there might be a lot of like self-doubt or self-hate going on as well, where and that might be where you're living in the head more than living in the body or embodied. Maybe there's parts about you that you feel ashamed about, and so that's why you're not fully embodied in yourself. Especially with this masculine and feminine being so balanced, maybe there's a part of you that's even like gender stuff, that you have. Like personally, I'm a non-binary person, so I understand, gender variance is a thing. It doesn't have to be. Obviously, this is a general reading, so take it as it resonates, seriously. But there's parts about you, that are really unique to who you are, that society or family or stuff like that had taught you how to hate yourself in certain parts of yourself. And so there's a certain level of having to unlearn that, right? As you're unlearning these patterns. But the more that you are totally and completely comfortable being 100% yourself and not really caring as much about what the outside is telling you who you are with that mirror, but totally seeing yourself for who you are, there's this level of opening up to your own power and allowing yourself to come in. And maybe there is a certain level of sexuality that's involved here too with the Eros. Like maybe that's a part of what's blocked, is like, and take this as it resonates. Obviously if you're I don't know, most people are in their 30s who are watching this, so hopefully you don't feel embarrassed by this. But anyway, there could be this sort of like sexuality stuff too, where there could be parts of your sexuality that you're repressing or you feel are bad because of societal expectations, where it's like as long as you're safe about it, right, these could be parts of you that need to be unlocked and explored in order to be fully embodied in who you are. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Sexuality is 100% a part of human existence. So if that's something that you're feeling, obviously be smart and safe about it. But if you are, like, explore yourself. It's important. It's a part of you, and there's nothing to be ashamed of, and there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing. It's a part of being a human being, right? And that's a part of why you're here, right? Is to have the full experience of humanity. So definitely, keep yourself open to that. Just keep yourself open in general. There's a certain level of that. Like, I think you do. There's this that, like I said, these energy centers need to be worked on. But that could be the lesson too, that you could be blocked in these energy centers. And like I said, take it as you resonate, whether this is current or past energy or future energy, whatever. That could be a part of, this initiation, like something said somewhere, initiation into shamanic stuff, right? That could be a part of it. That's actually interesting. An interesting aside, a lot of times in many ancient cultures on this planet and indigenous cultures in different parts of the world, the initiation into shamanic practice comes from a lot of times from illness, right? It comes from being sick or close to dying, and then going through that level of awakening through getting close to the other side, and then you're able to bring that in. So it's like there's a part of where you had to go through this sort of blockage in order to learn how to heal yourself and open yourself up to these sorts of energies and these sorts of things. So anyway, pile number 2, I'm going to leave you there. That was a long and in-depth reading. This is really great. I hope that you liked it. That was cool. I'm in love with this deck. It's like bringing everything to another level. So it's cool. Let me know what you think in the comments. I love hearing from you. We are celebrating the 1,000th subscriber. So to everyone who's new, thank you so much for subscribing. If you are new to the channel and you haven't yet, please do subscribe. It really helps out. And if you've been here for a long time, thank you so much for staying with me. I'm almost 2 years in to this journey with you, and I am loving every moment of it. And it's been a real learning curve for me to do all of this, and I feel like it's going really well, and I'm so excited to be here. So let me know what you think in the comments about anything. I'm here for you. If you would like a private reading from me to celebrate the 1,000th subscriber, there is a 20% off discount on all of my readings on my website. You can find information on that at www.junodrome.com. I am also doing a raffle to give away 2 free readings to 2 lucky viewers and 1 little gift package to a lucky viewer as well, of probably some crystals and some stones and things, and maybe a sticker with the logo that I'm creating and all sorts of stuff. I don't know what I'm giving out yet, but you'll get a care package for me. So you can find information on that raffle too on the website at www.junodrome.com. And I'm going to leave you there. Thank you so much for tuning in, pile number 2, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I will see you later. Bye. Hi there, pile number 3. Welcome to your reading. So this is going to be your reading for who are you in this lifetime? What does this life mean for you? We'll get really in depth about kind of your journey, spiritually speaking, and kind of like why you chose to be here, what it is you're learning in this lifetime, that sort of thing. This reading is inspired by this really great deck I recently got, the Wild Unknown Archetypes Guidebook, or Archetypes deck. And this is the guidebook for it. It's been incredible. This deck is it goes very, very deep and in depth into some symbols and things, and very, very powerful. And so this reading is inspired by one of the spreads that they give, called the Inner Quest. And so there's different archetypes, and so we're going to have 4 different archetype cards where we will find out who you are, where you are in this lifetime, kind of metaphorically, like what's your location on a metaphorical sense, with what are the tools at your disposal as you're here, and then the why, the kind of the reasons, what it is that you're here for. Anyway, we'll dive right in. I've got those archetype cards, and then I have tarot cards giving us a better description on sort of each card. So we're going to lay out all the cards at once. I've done that for the last 2, and I really like how that worked out. And then, so you chose the deck here, the card with this, it's got the snake, it's got the spider, and it's got the praying mantis. So it's got all these different, I think it's upside down. It's got all these different symbols of the unconscious, the web of life. The snake could talk about the Kundalini energy. Praying mantis can talk about sort of predator sort of a thing. So there's this sort of like it was like creepy crawly symbols, but then there's flowers and trees, and so it's like that dichotomy of nature. So we'll get into this. I don't think it's going to be necessarily anything negative, but what's the quote say? It says, "Learn how to see, realize that everything connects to everything else." Leonardo da Vinci. Yeah, there's this interconnectedness. A lot of times when I use this card, the biggest symbol on here is the web, and so the web is the interconnectedness of all of us, and so there's a potential for this lifetime. We'll see in the cards, but maybe you're here for this interconnectedness, right? You're here to highlight the interconnectedness of all things in some sense. So let's just, like I said, I'm going to lay out all the cards and then we'll dive into it. So who are you? You are the comic. Oh, cool. So there's some comedic energy in here. Oh, that's awesome. Like I said, this is my first time really kind of seeing all these cards too. I'm very new to this deck, so this is going to be great for both of us. So we got the comic. The cards you have is the Three of Swords, the Knight of Swords. Oh, cool! You're like in a romantic comedy. And we have the Chariot. Yeah, there is a sort of a silliness to you too, which is great. I love that. This is a great reading so far. Oh, the energy is totally different than the other two. It's awesome. Okay, so the location. Where are you? The womb. Okay, I like that. Creative energy. We've got the Five of Swords. Okay, yep, interesting. And we have the Knight of Cups. And then this is the tools at your disposal. We have the thread. Oh, interesting. Some rainbow symbolism on there. Rainbows on here. Some rainbows coming in here. Cards describing the thread. We have the Hierophant. And we have Seven of Pentacles. Okay, interesting. And then the final card, the why, the reasons. Why are you here? We have Kairos, and we'll read what that is. These Y cards are kind of like deep, powerful symbols. And there's not too many of them in the deck, so we have the Knight of Swords to help describe that. So that's fun. You have the Knight of Swords twice there. And we have the Four of Cups, okay, which is Homecoming. So that's kind of nice. Okay, so who are you in this lifetime? The comic, there's a sort of, I think there is a deep humor to you. I think that you are very humorous. So, and I think that's a part of why you're here, is to kind of spread that, right? The interconnectedness of all things. I did feel pretty much immediately that there's sort of like a connection between people here. You're here to be connected to people. You might be a very personable kind of a person. I feel like potentially you're an extrovert. But then with the womb too, there's this like deep inner introverted side to you, which is interesting. And so there's a bit of that dichotomy coming here. The comic, I do think, you have that comedic personality. I don't know if you're interested in comedy at all, but potentially, you're even a comedy writer or a comedian, stand-up. Maybe you like stand-up potentially, any of that kind of thing. There's a certain, and horn for confirmation, take it as it resonates. But I do think a fair amount of people who are tuning into this reading may legitimately look into getting into comedy, because I know for a lot of comics, there's a couple comics that I listen to podcasts from and stuff. I don't necessarily know too much about the comedy world, but a lot of comedians use comedy as a form of healing certain situations, and I think that maybe, and like stuff that they've been through, a way to talk about the difficult things by transforming that into humor, and then by doing so, it sort of shows that it helps heal others, because it shows that we all go through difficult situations, right? And by comedians having the strength to talk about the difficult things that they've been through, and turn it into something humorous, it helps other people do that for themselves unconsciously, and it helps give a certain level of healing in that. And so to help describe the comic here, we have the Three of Swords, which is, it can talk about heartbreak. And then we have the Knight of Swords, which is like this he's kind of the funniest of the knights in a lot of ways. He can talk about like brashly going into certain situations, and especially with the Chariot here, which can be like charging forward fast. It's like, I think that maybe you've jumped head first into certain situations in your life, that haven't necessarily gone right, but you have this incredible sense of humor as well, where you're able to, if you dive into these situations head first, and then it's something ridiculous, and you always have a great story, right? I feel like you're the kind of person who always has like a really great funny story to share with people about like some ridiculous thing that you got yourself into for whatever reason, and like I feel like you're the kind of person who's constantly getting into these kinds of crazy situations, and you're able to have a sense of humor about it, and a sense of levity through that, and it might actually be something that's quite painful on the inside with the womb, and I'll get into that in a second. But on the outside, you project this sense of humor to it, where on the inside it might be deeply painful, but for whatever reason, by transforming that into a more lighter sense of sensibility, you're able to make it better. Let me read the comic from the book to see if I'm missing anything. There's some really great descriptions in this book, and so I am going to read a bunch of these just because I feel like it's good, and like I said, this is a new deck for me, so it's a journey for all of us here. So the comic carries a remedy for all that ails this world. Yeah, it's kind of what I'm talking about. Amid the deepest pain and suffering, there is always the potential to lift up and out of the darkness through laughter. Though dismissed by some as lowbrow or unsophisticated, this archetype actually has a highly advanced mind. Some may use the word genius, as humor requires one to see the situation from afar rather than be swept away by the drama. The comic sees and accepts the messiness of life, using it as material to be mixed and shaped into a potion to soothe the stressed and serious mind. They literally lighten us up. Thus, with the comic is usually the sage or the magician, working healing magic upon any audience who will lend an ear. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, that's great. I love that this is like right aligned with that. The comic may be the archetype that heals the deep division in our world, one pun at a time. Yeah, so I do feel like that's this energy here. And now with the womb, I would like to read that too. But with the womb, what I'm feeling for the womb is it's sort of this energy of like I said, where you have this projection on the outside. There's this like, in order to get to the point where you can even make light of a situation, you have to go within. And this womb, to me, I'm feeling, the womb is like the the gestation point. It's like the place. That's where the place is that you're in. It's like you're able to take these difficult situations and bring them inside of you into your heart, and cherish yourself enough to be able to transform any of this stuff, and then move through that energy and birth into the world this sort of beautiful creativity, that's wonderful, this levity. Everything has an origin story. The womb archetype asks us to contemplate the beginning beyond the beginning, the mother beyond the mother. In a world that often negates the power and necessity of feminine principles, this card returns us to the warmth, tenderness, and sacred intelligence from which we came. It is a card of receiving, not achieving, of accepting love from the mother of us all. She is the life giving force that forgives and cherishes even the most wounded and desperate soul. No matter how lost you are, the womb awaits your return to help you heal and grow. This card is a call to keep things simple, to return, to be reborn in the name of love. The womb is everywhere. It is beyond gender, beyond time. We are within it as it is within us. And so to help talk about this, we have the Five of Swords and we have the Knight of Cups. And so I do feel like with that womb energy, it's like you're able to kind of come back into the beginning, right? And as you work through this sort of, like whenever you go through these difficult situations, you're able to transform those pain into humor. You're able, like I said, to lighten things up, and part of that process for you is this location by like being in this. Almost like childlike energy. You might have a sense of the inner child is always with you, and you might have been, you might have been accused of being immature or something a lot in life. Even if as you are an adult, but it's like it's almost like that inner child is always there, and that's able to to be this big gift for you. And with the Five of Swords, it talks about like it can talk about walking away from people in a fight. And so I do think that maybe, it might be a turnoff for some people, this sort of like childlike nature of who you are. Might be a turnoff for certain people with that Five of Swords, but then for others, the Knight of Cups is like this deeply nurturing force. And so it's sort of like it's important for you, to not take it personally when people are turned off by your energy. I think that's a big part of one of the lessons that you need to learn in this lifetime. One of the lessons that you're here to learn. It's that this side of you, there might be a period of your life where, you're not this childlike nature of who you are. You might be hiding it. You might have this in the reverse for a while, because of society or certain things. It's like you obviously you can't hide who you are, but I feel like maybe there's a part of you who's trying to be more serious, or there's a part of your life, or there will be a part of your life, or take it past, present. This is an entire lifetime I'm kind of reading here. There may have been parts of your life where you're tempted to be a very serious kind of a person, or to project this serious face, but ultimately that's not who you are. And the world doesn't need you to not be you, right? The world needs this Knight of Cups energy, this nurturing, this levity. Like that's what the world needs, and that's why you're here. You're here to be this lightening force. And so that childlike nature that's a part of you is, it's deeply important for the world and for yourself. And it's this process by being the comic. When we heal, in order to heal the external, we have to heal the internal. It's the only way. We can't just go out and try to help the world without helping ourselves first, because it's like it won't work that way. It's disingenuous. We have to help ourselves, and then by doing that, we show ourselves as inspiration to others, because you can't change other people. You can only change yourself. You can't affect others by not like the only way to affect others is by doing the work on yourself and then providing yourself as an example. And so there's a little bit of this level of needing to project that humor out into the world, by needing to have this be that that loving goofball like energy that is part of you. It's like so important. It's like it's who you are, and it's like it's a like I said, there's this sort of like you have the Knight of Swords twice, and so it's like this kind of like almost is like gangly like charging forward, right? Kind of energy. With the Chariot too, it's like this charging forth kind of personality, that you might get yourself into some difficult situations sometimes, and it might be tempting for you to be down on yourself about that. But actually, that's a huge strength, right? Because it's like you charge forward into these difficult situations, without necessarily seeing how hard it's going to be ahead of time. And then you learn as you're going, and then you have that lesson to then share with the world as you share your humor and you share your experience. And that's so important. So let's look at the tools at your disposal then. What's going to help you through this lifetime? And you have the thread. Okay, the thread. Life is a tangle. So much happens simultaneously and so much happens simultaneously and circuitously, leaving us grappling for meaning and direction in a network of distractions. When we connect to the energy of the thread, however, we strike the deepest vein in the body. Our whole being responds to its tug. Meaning is pumped through our bloodstream. Our mind and spirits are lifted. We remember who we are and what we came into this world to do. Though this happens on the most profound level, it could be the simplest incident that activates the thread: a song, an image, a conversation heard in passing. No matter how confusing and multi-layered our modern lives become, if we are connected to the thread, we are free. Being tethered to it is the only anchor our hearts requires. Yeah, so this I'm thinking of this in a comedic context, and it really does fit in with this, because if you think about it, a comedian, and the best comedy writing, they're able to see a situation, a mundane situation, a day-to-day situation, and they're able to take that situation and loop it into something much bigger. They're able to find profound insights into the world through the meaningless, right? These mundane things. And so it said that thing about like the chaoticness of life and able to just cut right through to the very heart and the very center. The best comedians are able to do this. And I feel like that's a powerful tool at your disposal, especially with the Hierophant. And then we have the Seven of Pentacles. So, this might be a skill that takes some time to build with the Seven of Pentacles. You might need to take time to really get there. But then the Hierophant is like these deep traditions are there too. So maybe studying the best at this would be helpful for you too. Finding inspirational artistic role models to help you get there. Watch the greats, right? If you really are trying to get into comedy, take it as it resonates. This isn't just comedy. You could be a writer, you could be some kind of artist or a musician, but it's all working through levity, right? There's this childlike levity that you're able to bring to this, and so that's where I feel like it's comedy, but it could be anything. There's this communications. Take it all as it resonates. But with the thread there again, it's like you're able to tap into the raw meaning of life itself, and so you can use these stories, right, as a metaphor, and that's what the best writers do too. They're able to take this sort of they're able to take the meaning, like they're able to weave a story that highlights this deeper underlying meaning of reality that's just underneath it all, and they're able to see that through things. And so not only can they see that, but then they can weave and tell a story and a tale that highlights that without specifically talking about it, right? It's like they're just talking about something mundane, but by doing so, they're highlighting this underlying thing that's bigger than all of us, that taps us into that thread. So that's the tool that you have at your disposal in this lifetime to help you move through things, which is so powerful. So now let's look at the final card, the why. What is the reason for all of this? Weaving a tale, weaving a web. There is a sort of web nature of that interconnectedness as well. So this is cool. Kairos, let me read it. I don't even know what this one is about. So some of these I'm able to guess, some of these I don't know, but that's okay. They've all been right on the money. Okay, Kairos, mythic time, synchronicity. Ooh, yeah, okay, I feel that for you. We have all had the experience of timelessness, of life beyond the ticking of the clock. It may be felt as time standing still, slow motion, or losing track of time on a walk or in a lovely conversation. This is known as mythic time, and it is the territory of Kairos. This card suggests there is a secondary time continuum that goes beyond any earthly clock and schedules. Within this nonlinear realm, we can access divine timing. A single moment ripens with auspiciousness, and our actions change the trajectory of our whole life. Time becomes a living thing that watches over us and tells us precisely when to speak or act. When this card appears, it is all about patience and precision. No clock can guide you. Wait for the rush of inner knowing and not a moment longer. Yeah, so I feel like that sense of timelessness, like I was talking about how, you can get lost in a good conversation. I feel like that's a part of why you're here, as this being in the why, there's this homecoming card with the Four of Cups, and then we have the Knight of Swords again. It's like you're able to bring people back home to themselves through talking about these situations that you've been in, through this comedic writing, this comedy, this presentation. You're able to bring people outside of their lives and bring them back into that bigger story, that bigger picture with the thread. It's like you're able to connect in to these seemingly mundane situations, these difficult trials and tribulations. You're able to weave together these stories and these tales that share with the world this greater sense of understanding that's beyond the day-to-day, that's bigger than all of us, and you're able to capture that in your communication. There's a big part of communicating with others, and that's what you have to share with this world, and that's why you're here. You're here to share that sense of mythic time, the largeness. It's like the storyteller. You're embodying the storyteller as much as you're the comic, and I feel like that's a part of a part of the storyteller. Um, Archetype in our modern time is through comedic writing. You think about some of the best um, the the best shows and the best tales are all humorous, right? Like some of the most poignant descriptions of the moment that we're living in, because we live in such absurd times. Absurdist humor and humor in general is so important to help us grapple with these difficult situations, and I feel like you have that power at your disposal, pal number three, and that's a part of why you're in this world, is to share that and to bring that into the world in whatever capacity. So take it as it resonates, be it writing, be it comedy, be it stand-up, be it working on a TV show with a group of people, be it whatever it is for you, be it writing, like The Lonely Island, like comedy music, right? Or like something, there's something about the sort of levity for you that I think is important. There's a certain childlike energy here. Maybe even writing kids things, is something for you, like a cartoon, maybe being maybe you always did voices, and so this could be like um an animation actor, or working in cartoons in some way, or maybe you draw, and this could be comics, right? You could be a graphic novelist, or an animator, animating a TV show, a cartoon, anything like that, whatever, or it could not be artistic at all, and maybe your job is working with children in some capacity, being a teacher, and helping kids through stuff, something like that. There's a lot of that, energy here. There's this sort of, you're able to communicate to people these sort of you're able to bring difficult situations into a light sort of circumstance that is either humorous or just easier to handle. And healing, there's definitely a healing element to this as well. It's like you're able to help heal people's stuff by communicating your own experience in such a way that is funny and light and wonderful and makes people happy. You're able to bring happiness into this world with the Knight of Cups, especially. So there's this level of and even if you don't feel like you're there now, that's a part of your life story, right? This is your whole "why are you here" aspect. So if you're not there at this moment, that's a part of who you are. This levity, this humor, is your gift. And like I said, with the thread, you're able to take and digest these larger, seemingly unrelated, mundane, day-to-day situations, and mix them into a story in such a way that you're revealing the universe to the world. And that's such a powerful thing to do. So yeah, anyway, pile number three, that's my reading for you. I hope that it makes sense and that it resonated. If you feel like it did, feel free to leave me a comment. Either way, I love hearing from everybody. Let me know what you think. And yeah, if you are new to the channel, thank you so much for tuning in. Please subscribe. We just recently reached 1,000 subscribers, and as a celebration, I am discounting all of my private readings, so you can find that. They're all 20% off on the website, www.junodrome.com. There's also a drawing to celebrate the 1,000 subscribers. So if you want to enter that, 2 viewers will win a free reading from me, and then 1 viewer will also win a little care package of maybe some crystals and like a sticker or something like that. I haven't figured that fully out yet, but somebody's going to get a care package for me with a little note. So yeah, anyway, pile number 3, that's my reading for you. I hope that it resonates. Let me know what you think, and I will talk to you later. Bye. Hi there, pile number 4. Welcome to your reading. So you chose the pile with the snake here. So we'll get right into it. Snakes in spirituality tend to represent, they represent this sort of like connection point between us and the divine a lot of times. They're like the, connecting through the creative energies, the Kundalini force, where it's like coiled at the base of our spine and then goes up the spine and into the air, kind of a thing. So we'll take a look at that in a minute. This is the reading for who are you in this lifetime? What are you here for? What is this life about? We've got this reading is inspired by this new deck that I've got. It's the Wild Unknown Archetypes deck. Really powerful imagery. This is sort of my first run through with it. I got it for Christmas. And so we're going to dive right in. This is inspired by one of the spreads that they have in the book. And so it's going to talk about for each, we have an archetype card for who are you, where are you in this life, like the metaphorically speaking, where are you? With what are the tools at your disposal in this lifetime, and then why, what are the reasons why. And so each archetype card has a few tarot cards to explain a little bit. And so we're going to dive right in. I'm going to put all the cards on the table first, and then we'll go into the reading. So who are you? You've got the Lover. That's beautiful. And then to describe it, we have the King of Pentacles. We have the Two of Pentacles. And we have the Page of Pentacles. Wow. Ooh, that's cool. We've definitely got a journey going on here. So we're going to switch these around. Cool. So this is definitely, it's like a lifetime reading. So we've got this whole journey, which is really great. Where are you, metaphorically? The desert. Okay, wow. And this might be talking about powerful places you have to travel to in this lifetime or something like that. We have the Three of Cups to help describe that. And we have the Five of Pentacles. Yeah, wow, okay. Powerful. And these go the other way around, I think. Interesting. Okay, and then we have the tool at your disposal is the Vessel. That's powerful. And the cards describing that, we have the Son of Swords, which is the Page of Swords in most decks. And we have the Daughter of Swords. Oh, sorry, the Daughter is the Page, and then the Son is the Knights in this deck. So you've got both the Page and the Knight of Swords in the Vessel. And then finally, the Y, we have Apocalypsis. And the Y cards on this archetypes are all like really powerful archetypes. So we'll go into what that means. We have the King of Wands to help describe that. We have the Six of Cups. And we have the Six of Wands. Okay, interesting. A lot of sixes. 6, 6. And then any other numbers? Not really. Double 6 though, so 6, 6 might resonate with you. So yeah, okay, let's dive into this. So this is interesting. I feel like who are you in this lifetime? You are represented as the Lover, and to help understand that, there's this certain balancing energy, and it's definitely this like, this is telling the story of who you are in this life. We have the Page of Pentacles, we have the Two of Pentacles, and then we have the King of Pentacles. So there's this energy of building, right? You start this lifetime as the Page, and you really do work, and through balancing life, you build up to this King of Pentacles. So you're meant to be this sort of King of Pentacles in this lifetime, which is this, having a lot of a material abundance, physical abundance. It doesn't necessarily have to mean money. It just means like, the physical world that you build for yourself, this life. You're meant to build yourself up. And so, regardless of where you've started from, I feel as though you're really building into this world a very comforting place for yourself. And that's a part of why you're here, is to build this comforting place. And it's coming through, it's like, it's going to be a journey, right? We have the rough seas in the background, this yin and yang, this balancing ups and downs. I think maybe, you're going to go through a lot of ups and downs in your life, but there is an ultimate through thread here where you end as this King of Pentacles. So I'm going to read the Lover archetype here, just to get some more information on that. We got a swan imagery on there. It's because this is a new deck. I'm kind of getting used to these symbols as they're intended. So the lover. Pulsing through the heart of the lover is gratitude. The lover appreciates and experiences the world through the senses, revealing in beauty, song, art, music, sense, and sensuality. The energy awakens at the tip of our tongue when we taste the sweetness of honey, kiss a lover, or speak gentle words to a child. The lover lingers in foreplay, aroused not by the getting there, but by the slow merging of self and other. The energy is usually experienced for short periods of time, as in order to feel it, we must be fully present and awake, with no expectations or rules about what should be. Rather, the lover is in awe of what the world presents, revealing in glorious details, grateful to savor every last drop of life's offerings. So this is interesting. I feel like for you, I think that you're in this life to go through a lot of different experiences. That's kind of what I'm feeling for you. It's like you're meant to really explore yourself and explore the world and really be present in that moment, right? So maybe you have a lot of transformations in this lifetime, if that resonates. It's almost like many different versions of yourself, and we all have different versions of ourselves, but I feel like for you there's this certain unfolding that happens in your life, as you go through these different periods and different situations. You're really moving yourself forward and into something different. And so, you might have different periods of this life where you feel like you're completely different people, where you go through different situations with different people, and then all of a sudden that situation and that version of you ends and there's something else on the other side. And I think there's this constant reinvention of yourself here. And there is a building through line too, right? Like, don't get me wrong, because the page goes to the king. So there's this building of this, and it's all physical too. The lovers, it was talking about that sort of physicality, the sensuality of the physical self in the moment. So there's this, like, you really meant to fully embody, that humanness of being in the self and moving through the world as the self. And so, I think that there's different periods of your life that mean different things. And as you move forward in life, you're constantly changing and going into something different. And that's a part of why you're here, is to experience many different versions of yourself and have that exploration. And, what's interesting is, I'm going to move on now a little bit, and we'll get back to some of this, but, the where is the desert. And, the desert can be this very barren place, but sometimes in that barrenness, we understand ourselves. And what's cool for this is you have both the Five of Pentacles, which can be a Dark Night of the Soul card, and this person is very alone in this reading right here. But then you also have the Three of Cups, which is celebrating with other people. So I think that there are going to be periods of your life where you are with others and very extroverted, and then there will be periods of your life where you're alone and you're introverted. And I think you need to go through both. There's definitely at least one period of your life where you need to go through, or you do go through, right? Whether this is past, present, this is a whole lifetime I'm reading here. So, where you are on your lifetime is up to you to understand. But, with the desert there, it's like there's going to be periods of going through the desert, right? And I'll read that. I'm going to read that from the book too, because I'm sure it'll go through these, the spiritual and symbolic understanding of the desert more than I can. But, the desert is like this place of awakening a lot of times. We can go into the desert to really understand ourselves. I'm getting this imagery of like a walkabout, right? In the indigenous Australian context, which is this spirit quest to find yourself. I live in the Pacific Northwest, and there's a lot of the indigenous cultures of here have that sort of spirit quest understanding too, where you have to go out into the wilderness to find the larger version of yourself, right? That in a lot of cultures, you know, cultures name a child one name, and then once that child goes through the initiation process into adulthood, they choose a new name. They gain a new identity by going off into the wilderness and having that identity come to them. There's a little bit of that going on for you, as you transform from the page to the king. It's like there's going to be this period or these periods of your life where you you go out into the wilderness and you're all alone and you're on your own, not necessarily literally, but, metaphorically. There's this dark night of the soul period that's explained in the Five of Pentacles, which is where, you at your lowest, you finally have a breakthrough into the spirituality, and an understanding of the larger context of reality. I feel that that's a possibility for you. And so, don't be afraid if you find yourself on your own, like I said too, there's a certain level of you embodying the change of reality as well. So it's like, don't let any one period of your life define the whole in a certain sense, right? That you're constantly moving and you're constantly changing. So if you find yourself in a dark place, that doesn't have to be the only place that you land, right? I feel like you have the ability to transform through these difficult situations and become something new. And have a rebirth into stuff. And so, and then have the celebration periods of your life as well. And so I do feel, whether or not you resonate with this, it's like there's this sense of like of having gone through these difficult aloneness. It's like you have the dichotomy of that, and we have that reflected with this balance here. It's like you go through both. And so, if you find yourself in a period where you're kind of alone, that's not going to be the only thing in your life, that there's this also these periods of deep celebration with others, and it's almost like you have to go through both. Now let me read the desert card too, because I think that there's going to be more symbols for you in the book here. The desert leaves us disoriented, desperate for direction, grasping for meaning, longing for solid ground. For endless miles, we are confronted with a lack of clarity and existential dread. We are thirsty, hungry, pleading with life to get back to normal, to become animated by the simple pleasantries of day-to-day life. The desert offers no such comforts, and all must pass through it. If you can embrace the discomfort of the desert, which is here, knowing you will someday reach water again, you can tap into the potent energy of the landscape. Its lights are blindingly bright, and its darks terrifyingly deep, which makes for unbridled creativity and clairvoyant visions. Truth resides in the desert that otherwise remain hidden. The crows, the shadows, the coyotes' call surround you. Let the winds and sands work their deep magic, weary traveler. Yeah, so, it doesn't have to be so bleak, right? But there is a certain, being in the desert of one's soul. It is the dark night of the soul period. So I think that there is a profound period of feeling lost that you experience in this lifetime. And that's a part of the journey for you, is to have that. And like I said, take this as it resonates, whether this is past, present, or future for you. There's this period where you awaken to the communication with the world around you, right? And the desert, and this sort of surreal aspect of the desert here. The hand coming out of the sand, reaching towards the moon. It's like you come back out of the buried nature of that, right? It's like you've maybe, it's a rebirth. I feel this sort of rebirth energy. So it's like, if you go through these difficult situations, use them as a catalyst towards change, and then you end up in this deep happiness with others as well. So it's like there's this total transformation that I think is a part of why you're here. So what tools do you have to help you through this journey, as you go through difficult things and come back into a sense of self and a greater sense of reality? Your tool to help you is the vessel. So I'm going to read that as well. The vessel may be the most powerful archetypal form on earth. It is everywhere. Cups hold liquid, stoves hold fire, our bodies hold organs, our homes hold families. Through the simple act of separation, the vessel protects what it contains. Nests protect the eggs. Savings accounts protect our earnings. Even the planets are contained within their circular orbit. When this card appears, it's time to assess what is being held together and how. Is the vessel too tight, too loose, broken, empty, full? Or perhaps there is no vessel at all, and the contents spill in every direction. It is natural for structures to be formed and eventually fall apart. The vessel has a life cycle that must be honored. Is it time for you to build, break, or repair? You must find out. And to help understand that, we have two swords cards, which talk about the mind. they're air signs. Um, with the Page of Swords, it can talk about new ideas, and with the Son of Swords, it talks about movement in the mental sphere, in the mind. And so it's almost like, the vessel being your own thoughts in a certain sense, your own, the barrier between the inside and the outside of your being. It's almost like there's stuff that happens that breaks that down. It breaks that barrier down in your life. And it's almost like that's the tool to help you with this transformation as you move through life. It's like breaking down the barrier. And I felt this with the desert too. There's a symbol in some of the Gnostic teachings and a lot of the kind of like um, uh, symbolic stuff, that sort of thing. Um, it's this idea that um, the higher and the lower are interconnected, right? That as above, so below. The inner world and the outer world reflect one another, right? And so it's almost like you have to go through certain trials and tribulations in your life and difficult things to really finally go through this desert where you break down the barrier between the outside and the inside, and you start to realize that, our inner worlds and our outer worlds really do reflect one another, that our thoughts shape our reality. And so when you start to understand that, you start to learn that like that your diet, your mental diet is deeply important for the outcome of your life. And I think that, there's a certain level of manifestation that's a part of this lifetime for you, of definitely material wealth and physical manifestation, the physical world. And it's like you have to learn this lesson in this lifetime. And this lifetime is about learning this lesson that, to gain that external world, to really manifest the beautiful world that you want for yourself on the external, you have to cultivate that on the inside. And that there's this level of the only way to get to where you want to be on the outside is by cultivating this 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 beautiful inner world, by working on your mind. And there might be, you might need to go to therapy at some point in your life. I've seen a therapist many times myself. It's really helpful. But there's a certain level of you understanding that your mind needs to change, and the movement in this reading is in the mental sphere, in the mental body. And so it's like, by bringing, it's like situations bring you to the breaking point or the brink, to the point where you realize that the only way forward is to change the way you see reality, that to change the way that you view the world at all. And that's the only way forward for you in a certain situation. So at some point in your life, there's this powerful opening and awakening where you realize that, in order to get to the places you truly want to go, this King of Pentacles energy, it requires you to form a new discipline on your thinking, and really work towards, feeding yourself a diet of healthy thoughts. And that your thoughts really do shape the outcome of your reality. And it's not something to be scared of, right? Like if you get caught on a negative thought loop, right, you don't have to be terrified that you're destroying your life. I've been there. You're not necessarily. It's all about like learning how to see beyond things, right? It's like practicing mindfulness can be really helpful with this, where it's like you learn to see the thoughts as they move, and you don't have to identify with them as excuse me. You don't have to identify with them as much once you start to learn that, you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness of those thoughts. You are the awareness that sits behind the thinking that happens in your mind. And, a lot of times we identify so deeply with the thoughts in our head, but that's not us. Like we exist beyond that. And those thoughts that flow through our minds are just there flowing like clouds flowing through the sky. And so if you learn how to practice this mindfulness, you can start to, you don't have to identify with those thoughts as much. And so then you'd be surprised, the more that you know, have thoughts hold less power over you, and start to say, okay, well, that's just me thinking. It's you start to help yourself, right, by practicing mindfulness. And then you become aware of the thoughts, and then you can give yourself, some counter thoughts, like, oh, well, I'm just thinking right now, like that's not, I don't need to go down this road. Like this isn't where I need to be, And I'm not telling you to suppress your thoughts. It's about learning how to change your mental, your mental what do you call it, biome, right? It's like your mind is like a biome, and so it's like you feed, what are you feeding your mind? Are you constantly on social media, reading negative news all the time? You know, what's going in? You know, are you surrounding yourself with like really scary stuff all the time? You know, and like I love horror movies and stuff, but you know, if you were to be in that all the time, you know, that could be scary too. You know, and you can get down a paranoia gravy train and stuff like that. So it's like learning how to open yourself up to, you know, giving yourself uh, the inner world, you know, in a way that is more conducive to creating the outer world that you want, right? And that they're both interconnected. That the places that you surround yourself with and the people that you surround yourself with can deeply affect what's going on inside, you know, and vice versa. Um, and like how you assume the world to be on the inside will shape the reality that you have on the outside. And so there's a part of that in this lifetime for you is really learning that interconnectedness of what's inside and what's outside, and having a balance between those two things, and you know, using the power of attraction in your own thinking to help move you in the direction that you really want to be. But it comes from, you know, experiencing difficult things too, and so your own personal experience is there to help you move you through this life too. So the final thing is the why. So why are you experiencing all of this? Why did you choose this? And we have the apocalypsis. So let's read that. Some apocalypse energy, which, you know, doesn't have to necessarily be scary, although these are powerful archetypes here. Apocalypsis indicates a particularly painful time, one that unfolds when two disparate dynamics occur simultaneously. This is exactly what we've been talking about, pulling the psyche in seemingly opposing directions. The first is lifting the first is a lifting of the veil. Yeah, so it's like by going through these difficult, you know, the push and the pull here with this, it's like it's opening your mind up to the beyond. Um, this means truths that have been kept in the dark are revealed, seen, and unearthed. No matter how revealing it is to witness them come into the light, an element of despair and grief follows. The second dynamic is the regeneration that comes from the wreckage of the revealed truth, right? So that dark night of the soul leading to the celebration with others. It's like that dichotomy, you know, even if you go through these difficult, dark situations, they open you up to the ability to bring in this beautiful, wonderful celebrational energy. The regeneration that comes from the wreckage of the revealed truth. The old narrative breaks and the new story forms. Apocalypsis energy is similar to a forest fire's devastation for the sake of regeneration. The veil lifts and we see who and what has been hiding. From the nakedness of truth, a child is born. Have faith in the process. Hold on to your center. That is the only way. So, once again, I do think, you know, like this is powerful and challenging, and all of these have been really challenging energy. So, hopefully, it's not too triggering for you or anything like that to come to this. But, um, you know, I've been through some periods like this myself. So, I have personal experience. And you know, when you're shaken to your core, it's a really, really, really hard situation to go through. Um, but what really helped me through all of that is developing mindfulness, right? And so, like, you know, you might have a lot of anxiety, and a part of it is bringing you to the point where you can learn how to handle it, because you have to, right? Sometimes the world will put you in a situation where you really have to deal with certain situations, and I think that this lifetime is bringing you into those kinds of situations so that you can transform and get to this King of Pentacles, um, abundance, beauty, levity. It's like you're supposed to get to that levity point, right? So it's not all doom and gloom. It's like for a purpose. It's for that growth and that generation, and that's a part of why you came into this lifetime, is to have that transformation, so you can carry that forward into the future. You know, and if you believe in multiple lives, it's to carry that into the next life and to do the work now, so that you can have an even better existence moving forward in reality, that like transforming of karma and that sort of thing. And so it's like, a part of this is coming to the understanding that these situations, even if they're hard and challenging, they're actually here to help you, as much as they're painful. And by learning to see the lessons that they offer you, it allows that growth and that transformation. Um, and obviously, suffering is suffering, right? There's no sugarcoating it, and there's no. I mean, as much as we can say it can help you, like, grow, um, I mean, painful things are bad, are not great, and they hurt, um, and there's a certain level of needing to allow yourself to feel that too, that, like, that. I'm not trying to say that it's good, it's kind of beyond good and bad, right? It's like to me, I kind of put it this way, right? Like bad things are going to happen to you, or hard things, painful things are going to happen to you, whether you want them to or not. And everyone in existence, it's a part of being alive. And so it's up to you what you're going to do with it, right? Like, you have the choice in the matter of how you're going to react to it and what you're going to take from it. And so, for me personally, I've chosen to, when painful, difficult things happen, um, I I try to use that to slingshot me into healing and into working through things. And then that it's made it easier for difficult things to happen in the future, right? And so it's like, the more that I continue to do that and build that up within myself, I'm then able um, to meet the next challenge a little bit easier. And I feel like that's a part of what you're here for too, is to be able to learn that lesson. And so it's like, you know, when you start to accept that it's here, instead of trying to run from it, just like, and I got a horn outside for confirmation, instead of trying to run from these difficult things, because that's kind of the um that's kind of what we all do. That's the easiest thing to do, is to just try to run and pretend like it's not happening. But the more that you try to do that, the more it just keeps compounding, right? And gets worse and worse. So instead of trying to run from it, by facing it head on, and really being present with it, being present with yourself, there's definitely this level of being present in this reading. Being here with it, it allows you to then transform and bring into this sense of growth and peace. And then, it's not saying that difficult things will never happen to you again, but when you learn how to work through challenging situations, it gives you the ability to meet those challenges when they happen again, head on, and you'll already know what they're like. And so, the next time you face a similar challenge, it'll be a little bit easier to deal with, because you have the experience of getting through it already on your belt, and you'll know how to deal with it. And then the more and more you encounter things, the less it's even going to be a thing, right? And then it just kind of becomes like a little mosquito or something, and it's just like, oh, well, there's that, and you move on. And so it's sort of like, a part of why you're here is to learn that transformation. And these deeply powerful lessons are like, that's why you're here, to really work through this stuff. And, if you accept that, um, it will become easier. It will, because you're allowing yourself to be present in whatever is happening. And something that I was going to say before is, it reminded me of, I think this was either Thich Nhat Hanh or it was the Dalai Lama. I read both of their books, a couple of books by both of them, rather, when I was really going through my own difficult situations a couple years ago, and just like really going through the worst of it. And some of their teachings on mindfulness really, really helped me. But one of the really great ones is, like, they do a lot of breath work, practicing the breath, and a part of meditation. You may consider meditating might actually really help you work through a lot of this stuff. But one thing is, like, when you meditate and you bring your awareness out of the mind into the stomach area, the solar plexus area, is kind of one thing that's trained. And it's like imagining yourself as a tree, right? Your body is like the trunk of this powerful tree, and our mind might be giving us this really difficult stuff going on, playing through our minds, like a storm, and imagining it like this hurricane going through your mind, right? But if you're this strong tree, right? Think about the oak. The oak is strong and it stays upright even in the storms. And so it's like you might be going through storms of your mind, but if you come back into the body and breathe and really breathing in, breathing out, and focusing on the breath, breathing in, breathing out. And even if the mind goes off and you stop focusing on the breath, you just bring it back, like, oh, thinking, breathing in, breathing out. I'm aware I'm breathing out. Breathing in, I'm aware I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware I'm breathing out. And you just keep repeating that, right? Then you are the tree in the storm, and you're the strong trunk, and there might be the raging battle going on in your mind, but if you just bring it back into the body, bring it back into the moment, bring it back into the here and the now, you start to be able to overcome those things. And it's not saying that those things won't continue, because they will. It's that you start to, like I was saying before, you're not the thoughts, right? You are not those thoughts. You are the awareness behind that. And so you are the tree in the storm. You are not the storm, right? You are not that storm. You are the tree that is blowing in the storm. And so if you come back into that, and that's a part of this vessel as well, that's your tool, right? Your tool is the vessel. And maybe you've had a difficult time in this lifetime developing strong boundaries with the outside world because of how you've grown up or the situation that you've been in, whatever. There's been a disconnect between what you allow in from the outside and what you say no to, and so there's a part of this lifetime is learning how to understand that boundary, that barrier for yourself, where to protect yourself and where to what to let in and what to push out, and so there might be this storm raging within you. But if you come back into the body and you come back into the present and you come back into the here and the now, you are able to bring yourself back into the moment, and that can really help through any kind of difficult situation you might be going through. So that's kind of what I'm feeling for you. I realized I didn't read the back of the snake card. It says, "Welcome change." Oh my God. Welcome change. Wow, that's so funny. Because that's exactly what I'm talking about, right? So I think that you, like I said at the very beginning as I opened this lifetime is about totally different things. You're supposed to explore many different things in this lifetime. And like I said, you might go through something really challenging and really difficult. You might go through these mental stuff and you might go through these difficult inner situations. But if you're willing to be present and willing to transform, this reality is open to transform with you. And there's so many different versions of you that you're here to see and to explore, and to bring into this world, and to allow this sort of transformation. So yeah. Anyway, pile number 4. I'm going to leave you there. I hope that it resonates. Let me know what you think in the comments. Either way, I love hearing from everybody. Deep thanks to all the new subscribers. We recently went over the 1,000 subscriber mark, so thank you so much. I'm celebrating that right now. If you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. It really helps out. To celebrate the 1,000 subscribers, a couple things are going on. I've got 20% off all of my private readings right now. You can find that on the website at www.junodrum.com. And I'm also doing a special giveaway. I'm going to give away 2 free readings to 2 viewers, and then I'm going to give away 1 awesome little care package of maybe some crystals and maybe like a sticker and some other things. So yeah. So definitely tune into that, and if you want to sign up for that raffle, you can find that at my website as well. Once again, that's www.junodrum.com. Anyway, pile number 4, I'm going to leave you there. I hope that this resonated with you and that you liked it, and let me know what you think either way. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.